believe you can create your life, but first you have to decide, because your dreams deserve your decision and you deserve to achieve your dreams, but only if you decide to do whatever it takes to get them. So with that said, let's hop into today's topic. All right, today's topic is 3 reasons your high ticket offer isn't selling. And I'll give you a hint. I put the hint on the image. I was like, number 1, price. Number 2, contents. Number 3, P with the underscore. So you don't know what that one is. So we're going to go over that today. What's going on, Tila? Wilton said, I got mine and I'm ready for the April session. Yay, yay, yay. I think if you're on, like if you're seeing people who are commenting on YouTube and you see that they have like green and stars beside them, those are channel members. So you get, basically you get perks. You get like a little sticker that says like, this person's a channel member. And if YouTube gave me the ability to actually collect names, email addresses, and all of that, I would also do like some merch giveaways, but I can't really do that. So I just do it via email. So if you're on my email list, you should have gotten the welcome February email that just came out, because February, we're in the month of February. And essentially inside of that email, I'm like teaching about a topic. So this month we're talking more about like high ticket and making sales of your high ticket offer, increasing your rates, really like stepping into that new, high ticket arena, if that's new for you. And I do like a free giveaway. And then also if you explain or like tell me a little bit more about what you'd like to learn, and you take that little survey that's at the end of the email, you get entered to win merchandise. And so I'm giving away like once a month, we're giving away merchandise, which is awesome. So if you don't have a mug, the I create my own version of a lavish life mug, you could win this mug. You could also win the Niches Get Riches t-shirt, a couple of other things. So definitely take the survey if you haven't taken it already. What's going on, Paula? Absolutely. Okay, cool. All right, so let's get started. I got my notes. Let me pull my notes up. And I'll give you a hint. So I put this in the email. A lot of people believe that right now, the high ticket offers are not selling because it's the economy. They're like, oh, well, it's the economy. Like people are just not spending as much as they used to, or, we're not, making those sales because there's not as much pandemic money running around. And I'll give you a hint. That's actually not true. If, for example, if you sold, now let me caveat this. If you sold before the pandemic money was running around and when the economy was great, and then you sold during the pandemic when we had, a lot of extra cash floating around, and then you're selling now, yes, you've probably seen some change and some dip in revenue, some dip in the amount of people who are saying yes. However, if, for example, you never even sold before then and like you're just now selling now and you're thinking that it's the economy, it's probably not the economy. There's probably something that's different that's going on. And so we're going to talk about that. So we're going to assume that we're all on this level playing field of a high ticket buyer is interested in purchasing from you, and they are not thinking about the economy because they're thinking about what they actually want to achieve in their life. I actually just made a 5-figure investment this week. And when you think about that, like, yes, I'm living in the same world that you guys are living in. I'm in the same economy that y'all are living in. But as a high ticket buyer, I'm looking towards what I want to create and what I want to build, not thinking about fear. When you start thinking about, things are going to crash and burn, or there's this fear, it paralyzes you and prevents you from moving forward. And so someone who is a high ticket buyer, their eyes are towards what they want to achieve rather than what they fear. And that's what I put in the email. So now that we have that out of the way, we can stop thinking that, okay, it's the economy, or, oh, it's because, people are just not buying the way that they used to. Like, we're just going to move all that to the side, and we're going to move forward knowing that when you have the right offer for the right person, it almost doesn't matter what price it is if they can be resourceful. All right. And obviously there's some people who are just not going to be able to afford high ticket, period. But that's not who we're talking about. We're talking about the people who are resourceful, who can bring together funds, who have the ability to make an investment. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay. All right. So I'm going to read off a few words to you, and I'm going to put the chat overlay up because I want you to type in the comments whether you think the word relates to something cheap or expensive. And to make it easy, so you can get ready with your hands, we're going to type a C for cheap and an E for expensive. Just keep it simple, okay? All right, and I know there's a delay, so I'm going to put this up, and then that'll give me time to drink my caffeine, which I'm now drinking only 3 times a week instead of 7 times a week. Started to get the tingles. Okay. All right, I'm going to give you a word, and I want you to tell me whether you type a C for cheap or X for expensive. Leather. This is going to go kind of slow, so I'm going to try to make this a little bit faster. I'm going to do a group of words. Scarce. Moet. I think that's how I pronounce it. Moet. Well made. Quality. Do those words bring to mind cheap or expensive? Cheap or expensive? Okay, we got some E's coming in. So far, the consensus is expensive. And the words I said, if you missed them, were leather, scarce, moe, well made, quality. Okay, expensive. All right, now we're going to go to the next one. As some of you are still typing in, that's fine. All right, this next group of words: Walmart, plastic, easily broken, box wine. Some examples there: easily broken, plastic, Walmart, box wine. What are we thinking? C for cheap or E for expensive? I'm smiling because I know this is really, really easy, right? All right, now we got the C's coming in for easily broken, plastic, Walmart, box wine. All right. So I think what happens is it's really easy for us. It's really easy for you, me, everybody to group things by associations. And when we hear the word Walmart, we know that we're going to be able to go to Walmart and get something pretty inexpensive. When we, for example, purchase something that's made of leather, we're thinking that it's probably going to be a little bit at the higher end of the price range, right? And that begs the question: does cheap mean it's going to be good, and does expensive, or does cheap mean it's not going to be good, and does expensive mean it's going to be quality? And the answer to that is no. It's just because something is cheap or inexpensive or low cost, that doesn't mean that it's not going to be good. And just because something is expensive or high priced, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be good. Right? So if it's cheap, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be not good. And if it's expensive, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good. But here's what happens. Our brain automatically associates those words, right? Leather, high quality, well made. We automatically associate those with expensive. So what happens is, if you try to price your high ticket at what you think is like a reasonable price, it's a signal. It's just how our brain works. It's automatically a signal to the person buying, oh, this is probably going to be this tier of quality, or I'm probably going to get, this type of service. And we do this a lot with restaurants as well. Like if you see a restaurant and you see the prices on the menu, or if they don't have prices on the menu, you automatically assume, okay, this is going to be white tablecloth. I'm going to have somebody that comes to my table like with their hand behind their back. I'm going to have a different person to pour the water than the person who actually takes the order. We're going to have a maitre d'. Like all of those things you automatically assume based on the price. But if you see the prices that are lower or less expensive, you're thinking, okay, I'm probably going to have to go up to the counter to place my order and then sit down. I'm probably going to have to throw my own plate away, right? Toss my own stuff out because that's the price that I'm paying. And so once again, what happens is our brain makes these associations, and it makes these associations very quickly. Now, does that mean you automatically need to just change your high ticket price and double your high ticket price? Maybe, but we're gonna get there. We're not there quite yet. Okay. Now, the reason that our brain does this is because the goal is survival. The ultimate goal, the number one goal of your body is to help you survive, to keep you alive. And sometimes we believe or we think that, okay, survival means just trying to take the next breath and making sure that I don't burn myself on a hot stove and all of those things. And it does mean that, but that those same pathways that cause you to feel pain when you burn yourself or cause you to feel pain when you cry or do something like that, those are the exact same pathways when you make a mistake or you feel guilty. You're like, oh, I wasted money. You don't want to feel that. Like all of that comes through those same neurological pathways. And so what you have to understand is that people are making snap judgments. They're making those judgments because they want to survive. They want to make sure that they don't feel that pain, that frustration that comes from making the wrong decision. So if they have to choose between two different things, and thing number one is $100 and thing number two is $1,000, and they want to get a job done, they're like, like if I have $1,000, I think I'm going to go ahead and go for this $1,000 thing because I really don't know what's going to happen with this $100 thing. And those are just arbitrary numbers that I threw out there to make the point. But that's the idea that comes to mind when you start thinking about high ticket. Okay. I hope this is making sense. Okay. So the next thing is a question for you. How many times have you purchased something to save money and then not liked it? And then you wish like, I wish I would have just went with that more expensive option. Or I wish I would have just went with the thing that I already knew could do it, but I tried this other one because it was cheaper. And so like sometimes that'll happen. We'll look at something and we say, okay, I know that I like this one, but like I'm tired of spending money on that. So let me try to go here. I'll give you a perfect example. So a lot of the times what I try to do as a business owner is to minimize those monthly payments that come from paying for software. I pay for a lot of software. I have a huge tech stack. And my goal is to minimize the number of tech tools that I use. If I can have something that kind of duplicates or, does it, I'll do that. So I use AppSumo in order to find really good deals when it comes to software tools to run my business. And often I'll see something that it looks like it can replace something that I'm already paying for. A good example is Typeform. I use Typeform. Those quizzes, those surveys that you guys take, you see at the end of the email, I use Typeform for that. So I bought this new AppSumo tool and I was like, all right, this is great. This is going to save me, a good chunk of money, because I think at the time I was paying like $1,200 for the year for Typeform. So I was like, hey, I can pay for this one time and then I don't have to pay for Typeform again. I logged in, tried to get it going, and it just didn't have the exact same experience as Typeform. It didn't have the exact same features. It was very close, and probably with like a couple of months of energy, time, and effort, I could have got it to work. But once again, it's that energy, time, and effort that I don't want to spend just to save, $100 a month. In the grand scheme of things, I was like, okay, let me just look at where I can potentially cut some of the features that I'm using with Typeform that I don't necessarily need, which is what I ultimately did. And so like, even though I only spent, $50 or $60 to test out this new option, it's still like, I didn't even have to spend that money at all if I would have just stuck with what I know. And that's what you got to think about when you're thinking about pricing your high ticket offer and doing your marketing, is that people are always trying to make a decision. They want to make sure they make the right decision, because if they make the wrong decision, those same neurological pathways fire up and they feel like, I should have just went with my gut. I should have gone with what I know. I shouldn't have tried this new thing. I should not have wasted money. I should know better. Right. So let's go with the three things, three reasons your high ticket offer isn't selling. The first one is price. And so I often get the question of, okay, well, how do I choose my price? What price should I choose? Most people say that you should start with how much you want to earn. So for example, if you want to make $10,000 a month and you only want to work with one client at a time, well, then your offer is $10,000 per month. But I will say that I think a better way to do it, especially as a coach, is to start with how many lives you want to impact. If you have a big vision to impact a lot of lives, you're probably not going to be doing really high touch services for just a few individual people. You're probably going to be doing something that's more like mass market, so to speak. And so with that type of mission, your pricing is probably going to be a little bit different, and you're likely not going to be doing high ticket at the start. You're probably going to be doing something that's a little bit more low ticket, something that's more membership style. And, maybe you won't be thinking about, okay, let me do a $10,000 offer. And that's fine. That's okay. If you, for example, think, okay, well, I do want to impact a lot of lives, but I want to start small and I want to start with impacting just a few lives, make sure it works, and then kind of grow from there, which is where that's kind of like my lane or where I'm going. Then yeah, you would start with high ticket, because that will allow you to refine your process, really figure out who you want to work with, how it works, and then how you can expand that out. Okay. Then from there, once you determine that, you next want to determine the value that you offer, meaning how are you actually changing the other person's life, and what value does that bring to them? This is one of the exercises that we do inside of the Path to Six Figures, because it's huge. It's, a lot of times people believe that, okay, well, I'm just doing an offer to help um, a wife to improve her marriage, and so therefore, like, there's no number. It's like a life coaching offer. So, I'm not helping her make any more money, but you got to think like one step beyond that. It's like, what's the cost of divorce? Like, that's a very tangible number right there. Or what is the cost of having to pay for everything yourself, right? Instead of splitting things as a couple. Like, there's some tangible numbers you can assign to those things if they don't get your offer, start working with you. And so even if you don't have a money offer, you have to be able to start thinking of what are those tangible things where I can actually put a number on it. I've done the research and I can tell you, hey, if you don't take care of your life and your health, you could be paying this much out of pocket for, you'll have higher insurance rates. You could pay this much for this type of surgery. Like, you need to know those things, what's related to what happens if they don't get your help. And then from there, once you understand that value that you're bringing to the client, you've got that to the side, right? Then you want to think about what's that one problem that you're solving and get really specific with it. The more specific you can get with a problem that you solve, the easier it's going to be for you to charge a high ticket rate. So the more general you are, the more you're going to have a mass market offer that is going to be a little bit lower ticket, like start a business. That's a mass market offer. That's a little bit low ticket. Run Facebook ads for doctors who perform this specific surgery. That's very, very niche, very high ticket offer, because you're going to become the go-to person essentially. So you have to think about, like, what's that one specific problem that I solve, and can I solve that problem really, really well? So the one specific problem that I solve is helping you with getting really clear on your marketing message. And we do that through helping you create a webinar. And regardless of whether you believe that webinars still work or people still sit down for webinars, that process of pulling together your entire marketing message into one clear message that you can use in many different ways. Social media, you can use it as speaking engagements, you can use it as a 3-part video series summit, you can create it into like little small clips, whatever. Getting really clear on your marketing message allows you to be much more effective in speaking to your ideal client avatar. And so once you're really clear on the specific problem that you solve, then you can put a price on it, because then you can say, all right, when you get my help, this is what you're able to avoid, and these are the cost of those things. And also, these are the potential things that you can bring into your life, and this is the value of those things. And now I found a price that maybe meets somewhere in the middle. Maybe it takes into account this is what you could do over the year, and then therefore let's take a little slice of that. And if you feel, here's the problem that a lot of people run into. A lot of times they feel like, okay, but I don't want to promise a number. I don't want to promise an outcome. I don't want to promise, like, you have to get over that. From a legal standpoint, not legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. There's things that you can and can't say. Okay. Consult your legal professional for that. But outside of that, like, you have to be confident that what you offer can change lives. If you're not confident that what you offer can change somebody's life, then you shouldn't be selling a high ticket offer. And you should be working with someone for free to help them get results. As soon as you help them get results, now let's work with the next person. And now you can have your high ticket offer, because you know what I do can change lives. And you have to be really clear on that. So you have to kind of get into your B, I can't, I'm like trying to say it in a nice way. You have to get into your big Tish energy. I'll say it like that. Okay. You got to get into your big you energy. Like, you have to know what I do serves people at the highest level. I know that I can help clients get results. I know that I bring 120% to the table. And it's about them also bringing what they have to the table as well. And yes, everybody's going to be different. People are going to land different places, et cetera, et cetera. And it might happen today, it might happen next year, it might happen 10 years from now. Regardless, I know that what I do is going to change your life. So if you don't have that confidence in yourself and what you do, then you need to take a step back and figure out, how can I start getting that confidence? So part of the way that we do that inside of when I work with clients is we start with understanding, like, why are you valuable just for being you? So we're not even talking about your offer yet. We're not even talking about what you sell and who your client is. It's like, let's think about you. Like, do you have confidence in yourself to know that you are worth it? If you guys seen the Viola Davis video, it's just like, you are worth it. Like, that is it. You have to know and you have to understand that. And once you understand that, then you can start thinking about, okay, now my offer, now my ideal client, and then this is the price, and be confident in that price. Okay. Yes. The big bish energy. Okay. Let me come back to, going back to these comments. Yes. You get what you pay for. How many lives do you want to impact? Yes. I cannot wait. I'm super excited about the quarterly session. What's going on, Cami? Thank you so much. My business is moving at a slower pace, but everything that I've learned has been so effective in building my business to 6 figures. Absolutely. And everybody has their own pace. You know, the crazy thing is that I was actually looking at my check-in video I did this morning. I'm probably going to post it. I'm not sure. I'm hesitant. But, you know, sometimes you look at you and where you are, and then you just naturally, like, look at other people and compare and say, okay, well, what's, you know, am I doing okay? And I had to, like, I have to constantly, not even I had to, but I have to constantly get onto myself and say, hey, let's look at your video from last week, from 3 weeks ago, from when you first started. Like, let's look at that. Let's think about, like, how much more confident are you? Like, let's think about, like, you getting to where you want to be and not you comparing yourself to where other people are. Because once again, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes of what they're doing, how they got there. You know, everybody has different body types. This is just for the check-ins in general. But, you know, you can use that for business also. Like, you have no idea. So stop trying to compare yourself and be okay with your pace. Your pace is fine. What's going on, Tacinda? Glad to have you here. The program that has my how to do webinars training is the Path to 6 Figures. And the reason that it's in that program and not pieced out, where, you know, a lot of my other programs, I'll like grab like pieces of, okay, I can teach you this piece in this program and you can purchase that separately, is the process of pulling together a webinar involves a lot of moving parts to really get a solid webinar. There are consultants that charge $25,000 just to write a webinar. And that is because that process of pulling all those pieces together takes time. It's a very intensive research-based process. There's a lot of things that go into it to really getting a good flow. And the only way that I'm able to teach that is inside of a program where you can actually ask questions, get feedback, and do all of those other steps that lead up to it. So that's why we do it in the Path to 6 Figures. Okay. All right. Where are my notes? I see Ruth is going back and going. The cheap versus expensive. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Next piece. The second reason your high ticket offer is not selling. So the first reason was you're not priced right. The second reason is that your contents are not quite right. Okay. So here I want you to think about like, what are you actually delivering? And the answer to this is less is more when it comes to high ticket. Why? Just give me what I need to succeed. Like, don't give me all of this other stuff. I don't want a vault full of, courses and programs that I got to read and watch through. Like, just tell me what I got to do. Give it to me piece by piece and like, let me go run and do it, or do it for me if you can. So the key here is to understand that a lot of times people try to take their low ticket offer and then just like slap a high ticket price on it. And then you wonder like why the high ticket client is not purchasing it. And it's generally because you're telling them too much. I remember there was a program that I paid $12,000 for. And on the sales call, we were talking about, where I was, what I wanted to accomplish, what I wanted to achieve. And I was told, okay, you're going to get, someone to support you. We're specifically going to work on this thing, which is the thing that I said I wanted to do. And you'll have access for 90 days. And I was like, okay, great. I was like, so someone is going to be there to answer my questions. They're like, yeah, you're going to have a dedicated account manager. So I was like, all right, great, let's do it. I get access. There's this full course, right? And I'm like, oh man, did I just pay $12,000 for a course? Like, oh, they got me. And then on the very first call with my account manager, he was like, okay, I made a little plan for you based on where you are. Here's what I want you to focus on. You need to go, like, did you get access to the program? And I was like, yeah, I did. And he said, okay, great. He said, I know it's probably seems like a lot of content, but here's what I want you to focus on. You're going to go here, watch this video and then submit like this piece of homework, right? So let's work on that and then go there and then let's work on that thing. And then we're going to meet in 1 week and see how you did. And I was just like, whew, okay, good. I didn't just pay $12,000 for a course. I got exactly what I wanted, which is I want someone to tell me, hey, this is exactly what you need to be doing. This is what you need to focus on. We're working on this together. So when you're thinking about your high ticket offer, like, yes, if you have a course or a program that has like all the content, that's great. But that's not what your high ticket client is buying. They're not buying all of the individual little things. Like they're not buying all the work. They're buying the destination, right? We're not purchasing TSA pre-check, the packing, going through and sitting and waiting for the plane to arrive, waiting for everyone to sit down. Like we're not purchasing all those things. We're purchasing, okay, now we're on the beach and we get to enjoy, all the good stuff. So for example, if you have a health and wellness offer, you should not be selling, okay, I'm going to give you all the workouts you need to be, go in the gym, because that's not what your high ticket client wants. You should be selling, I'm going to help you do exactly what you need to get to your bikini body, if that's what they want, right? I'm going to get exactly what you need to get to your pre-wedding weight, whatever. Like whatever it is that they want, that's what you need to be selling them. And the sales process for high ticket is another conversation. But that's actually a good moment to share. If you would like some help with the sales process, I am prepared here, then you should definitely pick up Package and Profit. So if you go to LaTisha.tv/package, you're going to love this course. It's a 4-part mini series, and it takes you through the mind of a high ticket buyer, how to market to high ticket buyer, why high ticket clients buy now rather than later. And then the final video also gives you a sneak peek into the sales process that I teach clients in the Path to 6 Figures. Like I literally just pulled that video out and put it in here. So you can go to LaTisha.tv/package in order to grab it. Today's session is sponsored by. All right. Okay, we're doing good on time. Okay, so the key here is that your content needs to really focus on what the person wants, what they desire, what's at the end of the rainbow, and not the process to travel to there. Okay. All right, and now the third and final thing. Awesome. Glad you are enjoying it, Pamela. Which was blotted out and you didn't know what it was. The third reason that your high ticket offer is not selling is positioning. You haven't actually positioned it for the high ticket client. And you need to understand like who your offer is truly for. And if there's a match between the person who needs your offer and their ability to invest in your offer. I'm going to say this again because this is one of the big things that a lot of you are missing. A match between the person who needs your offer and their ability to invest in your offer, their ability to invest. Sometimes the people who need your offer the most do not have the ability to invest in your offer. And especially a lot of the clients that I speak to, like, you guys have big hearts. I get it. I have a big heart too. I want to help everybody. And a lot of that is because we've been where our clients are now. And so we want to save everybody. Like, I want to save the LaTisha who had, $30 in her bank account and was trying to figure out if she should, pay her car note or pay her cell phone bill. But that LaTisha does not have $10,000 to invest in a high ticket offer. That LaTisha is really just trying to figure out how to survive. So what can I do for that LaTisha? Okay, well, I can create free live streams and free content for her, right? I can create a $2.99 YouTube membership so she can at least get started and start moving. So you have to understand that your offer needs to match the person who has the ability to invest. They're willing to invest. They have the ability to invest. And then third, they also need to have the authority to invest. Because for some people, yes, they have the money from a household standpoint, but they may not have the authority to make that purchase. They have to ask someone else, or they have to get, buy-in from their board, their investors, their spouse, their, silent partner. They got to pray about it. Like, there's all sorts of things where people don't give themselves the authority or don't have the authority to invest. So you need to understand that as well. And so I want to kind of add what positioning really means, because some people don't necessarily understand this. So what would you choose? The Mustang GT or the limo? I'm not a car person. Okay. So I know Mustang GT is fast and the limo can't go as fast because it's longer. Okay. The point is, would you choose the fast car or the slow, comfortable ride? And this is kind of a trick question, because the answer is, well, it depends on where you're going, right? It depends on if you want to get there as fast as possible, or if your goal is to like ride to the end destination in luxury. And so when you're thinking about your high ticket offer and how you're positioning it, generally speaking, the high ticket client wants the Mustang GT, right? They want to get there as quickly as possible. They know that they're going to get there already, but they know that with your help, they can get there faster. And that's the idea behind positioning your offer. So if you're positioning your offer as, we're going to, work together for 12 months. We're going to work together for 24 months. We're going, like, the high ticket client is like, ooh, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to, like, next week, I'm trying to make this happen. Right. So when you can make sure that you are speaking about that to your client, then it makes it that much easier to help position it. So for example, if your program does offer 12 months of support, then you'll include that. So you can say something like, we offer 12 months of support, but our average client completes the program within 12 weeks, or gets to that first win, or what they want to achieve within the first couple of weeks. So whatever that goal is that that person wants, that client wants, that's what you want to make sure that you focus on instead. Okay. And the point is that you're taking your clients on a journey, and you need to get them to their destination in the most effective way possible. Sometimes that's not the fast way. Sometimes that's a little bit of the slower route, because there's some foundations that need to be built. And that's the reason why you have different tiers. Okay. So in this next section, we're going to rework your offer. Okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of coaching. If you give me permission, I'm going to give you exactly what I would give clients in this place. And then I'll come to some of the questions. Okay. All right. For your price, I want you to create 2 tiers, or 3 at most. All right. So the lower tier is going to be for your group clients, and the higher tier is going to be for your one-on-one or your mastermind style clients. When you do it this way, you give clients the ability to say yes to themselves at the rate that they're ready to invest, even though that pricing might be a little bit out of their comfort zone, which is fine. Usually high ticket is. It's usually going to be a little bit out of your comfort zone, but you give them the ability to slot themselves. And the way that you present this is, do you prefer a group setting, or do you prefer one-on-one setting? And most of the time, your high ticket client is going to say, I want the one-on-one setting, or I want that high level mastermind style setting, because they know that that's going to help them get to that result faster. And you say, okay, great. Here's the pricing for that tier. And then what's going to happen is the person's like, okay, well, I thought I was ready for that, but maybe I'm ready for this. And then you can give them the group pricing with them knowing that that's like really not what they want. And so generally speaking, what's going to happen is they're going to end up getting resourceful so they can get in at they want to get in where they actually fit in, right? With where they want. Now, the way that you can do this is going to depend on your offer. So the way that you're going to do this, if you have if you have an offer that is like a kitchen sink offer where you provide like a lot of deliverables, not like a lot of junk and content, but like you're checking off a lot of things for them, you can just check off a couple of fewer things, right? So you just take some of those things out, and then that can be a lower priced, lower, little bit lower ticket offer, but still high ticket. So we're just talking about high ticket, not low ticket. So that's going to be a little bit on the lower end of that high ticket range. Okay. And then then beyond that is like, okay, if you can't do, the group or the one-on-one, or if you don't ever want to do group, once again, you can still do a mastermind style. That's still technically group, but it's a little bit more high touch. If you don't want to do either of those, you're on the phone talking to them. If you don't want to do either of those, we also have, these self-paced courses. And that's where your self-paced digital programs come in, which I love because it gives you an opportunity to, essentially like get in where you fit in and start working on stuff. Okay. All right. That's your price. Second is the contents. Okay. What I want you to do here is for the content for your offer, I want you to create a program that has the start to finish. A lot of times what people will say, and I've heard this from other coaches, where they'll say, don't create a program that includes everything that the person needs because you want to be able to ascend them to your other offers. And I say, no, don't do that. Like, I want to have everything from start to finish. So give them like everything they need start to finish. The path to six figures is literally, it will take you from not knowing anything and trying to figure out who your client avatar is to all the way to getting traffic. And that's like the final step. And then all you have to do is just get traffic, get traffic, get traffic. So it's a full program. Once you have that start to finish content, remember your high ticket client doesn't want to get bogged down in all that content. When you create your high ticket offer, you're going to direct your high ticket clients to what matters most to them. Similar to what I was telling you about the program that I had signed up for, where they said, okay, go here, do this. That's what you would do for your high ticket clients. And that way they get access to it. And if they want to come, go through it and comb through it and really dive deep, they can, but they don't have to because you're helping guide them through the process. All right, positioning. This is one of the most important things. Positioning, you want to determine your highest value avatar. Determine your highest value avatar. The highest value avatar is the person who's most likely to get results with your offer, not the person who's willing to spend the most. It's the person who's most likely to get results with your offer, okay? And then you want to take a step back once you determine that is, okay, do they have the willingness to pay? Do they have the ability to pay? Do they have the authority to pay? Okay, so you got to make sure you hit those three things. But first you have to determine who can get the best results. And sometimes like this is going to give you an aha moment because you might actually be targeting your marketing towards people who could use what you have to offer, but are not necessarily positioned to get the best results. When I did this exercise for myself, it made me realize like, oh, I should only offer my high ticket offer to people who have this many people on their email list or who have this many testimonials. Like there was a fine line there. And I did that by looking at who are the clients that I've worked with in the past, who has gotten the best results, who's gotten the fastest results, like who has been like some of the best success stories, and where were they when they started. Therefore, okay, great. This is where I should draw the line. And this is where my high ticket clients really should be versus these are people, yes, I can help, but they're not necessarily the highest value avatar. So you need to think about that as well. Okay. Happy New Year. Queen, I think that's you. Did you change your ID on there? Hey, Courtney. How are you? Glad to have you here. Okay, good. Price range for high ticket offers. I love that right there. 10K to 100K. So high ticket offer pricing is going to vary. It's going to vary based on your industry and based on that avatar. In general, if you're in like the business, make money, very specific financial, tangible outcome, you can be at the higher end of that range because it's going to be a lot easier for you to, quote unquote, justify that fee because it's directly tied to a financial outcome. However, that doesn't mean that just because you're offering something that's in like the life coaching area or, mindset coaching area, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be on the lower end. It just means that you have to get really good at your marketing and understanding what's that outcome and what's that value. For example, if you have an offer that is helping someone with childhood trauma, you can charge $10K plus for the offer. The structure of it is might vary from someone else's offer. Everyone's offer is going to be a little bit different, but that doesn't mean that you can only charge $100 a session for that, because there are ramifications to healing that process and like, what is the outcome based on that highest value avatar. If it's someone who is in, a certain career, how does that affect their career? Like, you got to just do the work to figure out what's the result, what's the transformation, what's that transformation worth. That's how you come up with that pricing. Okay, how do you make your brain react differently on what you want? How do you make your brain react differently on what you want? I'm not sure how to answer this question or what this question is asking. How do you make your brain react differently on what you want? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're asking. Okay, if I answered it, then that's good. But let me know if I didn't, and I can come back to that. Okay, good. Awesome. I'm so glad that I helped you with the structure that you've been needing for years. We're good. Like this year, I'm telling you, 2023 is not coming for me. I'm coming for 2023. I'm telling you. I want every single session to be highly valuable, something that you can apply right away. We're not doing any fluff sessions. I will be selling something every single session. So you'll see, hey, you can purchase this, you can buy that. But all that does for me is incentivize me to really pack in the value in these live streams so that I can get people here live. And then that just kind of like everything filters through. So I'm going to be opening up my calendar a little bit more over the next couple of weeks for those of you who do want to work with me at a deeper level and actually get some help with not only creating your offer, making sure it sells, getting that confidence, because we do much more than just the practical of here's how to price it, here's how to put content in, and here's how to position it. I also help you kind of go through some of those blocks that are probably holding you back from actually selling and actually pitching that price. So if you get on the phone with a potential client and then you change the price, even though you knew that you already had a different price, then that's probably a subconscious block. And those are things that I work with my high level clients on. So we're going to be sharing more about that coming soon. Awesome. Yep. This will be in the member area. That's what I have for today. So let me know if you guys have questions. Where's a good place to start if I'm more interested in a mass audience? Perfect place to start is going to be, I'll give you kind of I'll give you the details of how to get started with that. First thing I would recommend doing is to figure out your platform that you can be consistent on and start building your audience. I 100% recommend YouTube. I think it's one of the best platforms to help you not only build a distinct connection with your audience, but really build that full platform. If you're already doing a podcast, which I'm guessing from your title, turn a camera on and publish those to YouTube. So do the same podcast, turn the camera on while you do the podcast, and just start publishing that to YouTube. That's going to be like the easiest thing for you to get started with. Then from there, create a consulting like call type thing, so that as people are interested in getting help from you, you can do like a quick consulting call. You can either charge by the minute or you can do like a package. So this would just be like just something simple. And the reason that you're doing that is you're trying to get an idea of the main common questions and concerns that your audience has. So you're thinking more audience rather than individual clients. So you kind of want to start crowdsourcing and figuring out what are those main concerns. And then you can create digital products. So if you start creating like just little mini programs to start answering those questions and selling those at whatever price you want, doesn't matter, or create some sort of membership thing, that would be the model that I would use for more mass market. And then your goal from there is just to like get famous. That's it. So get featured, partner with people, just continue to grow as big as you can and make sure that you don't niche down too hard, and so you can reach as many people as possible. So that's my answer. That's where to start, where to finish, and where to go, and how to do it. Good. All right. Wilton says, I think I may have all of your products. I think you might too. But that's cool. I'm excited to work with you on each of those. All right. If you guys have any other questions, you know where to find me. I'm on Instagram at LaTisha Styles TV. Where's my little thing? Okay. You can always like take a screenshot or be like, hey, I'm excited to be learning with LaTisha. I love those. I love resharing those. Other thing is we love keeping the conversation going, kind of, but we will be doing more soon inside of the free group. So go to latisha.tv/group in order to join the Profit Creator community. I do share more stuff in there when I'm not like starving and eating cabbage every day, but it is what it is. More to come. Yes. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate it. Love it. Awesome. All right. Thanks so much for joining me today. Until next time, remember, your dreams deserve your decision and you deserve to achieve your dreams, but only if you decide to do whatever it takes to get them. So go, dream, decide, do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay. Bye.